Okay, go ahead.
Hey guys, welcome to our team call. Today is June 12th, 2017, and we have a really awesome call for you tonight. So I hope you have your notes printed. If you don't have them printed, try to get them printed, get Amanda uploaded, or pull it up on your computer. It's really cool. I'm excited to fill it in. So the other thing, before I introduce her, there's a couple of announcements. Make sure that if you're going for Diamond, you join our Decision Diamond group. We just kicked off. It's not too late. The requirement to be part of that group is you do need to be an active Emerald. So you need to have a coach on your left and a coach on your right, which makes you Emerald, and been through a Coach Basics. And then you can join that group. So if you're not there yet, get yourself there so you can join us for the fun. We're actually making really good progress, and we're going to be popping a bunch of diamonds soon. So it's a pretty fun group. So make sure you get in there if that's your goal, if diamonds are goal. And then the other thing is if you're going to Summit, make sure you're part of our Team 360 Summit group. We just did a kickoff call to get prepped for Summit next month. So make sure you're part of that. If you're not, let me know and I'll get you added. And don't forget about my birthday challenge. So I turned 39 yesterday. So if you can send, in lieu of gifts, I'm asking for 39 invites. And if you post your completed sheet in the comment section of that post I did this weekend, then I will enter you in a drawing for a prize. And prize for my birthday. But you have to have it done by Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Pacific time, and then I'll do the drawing for you guys. So that's it for announcements. And then I want to introduce you guys to Amanda Noddings, and she's a good friend of mine and one of our top 360 coaches. She is amazing. So you guys, Amanda was actually a free lead to me, and she was assigned to me. So that's why it's important you guys get qualified for those leads, which you need to hit Emerald and Success Club. So if you want to be qualified for July to get free leads in July, you're going to want to make sure that you get Emerald and Success Club locked. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, make sure you check with your upline, but you want to get those free leads. We have so many coaches on our team that were free leads. So get it done. But Amanda has had an amazing transformation if you haven't seen it. I remember talking to her when she signed up, and she was working on her body, and she was like, yeah, if I could just get to this particular weight, blah, blah, blah. And I don't need this, I don't need that. And then the girl's got a 6-pack, and she's competing in the Beachbody Classic at Summit. So she has totally crushed and surpassed all her goals that she had set in the beginning. And it's been amazing to watch her. And then also with the business, this girl has not missed Success Club since she started. She started just over 3 years ago. Yeah, she had a close call last month due to a technical issue, but we got it figured out. So she has not missed, and she signed up as a coach just over 3 years ago, and she signed up as I was boarding a cruise ship for the Beachbody Success Club trip. And when I came back, she'd hit Emerald and Success Club, which is pretty freaking awesome. So she has 39 months in Success Club 10, which is an incredible accomplishment. And you guys, she's actually hit more than Success Club 10 most of those months. But if you add that up, she's helped literally hundreds of people over the past 3 years with their health and fitness. And that is big. That's a really big accomplishment if you look at it that way. And I'm just so proud of her. And I'm excited for you guys to hear to her tonight, because this girl knows what she's doing. She's got social media dialed in. She's going to share with you how to do it. And I'm taking notes too, because even though I've been a coach for over 5 years, I still have learning to do. We all keep learning. I want to also mention she just celebrated her 7th wedding anniversary with her husband, and she has 2 adorable little kids, Olivia and Elijah. And I've had the opportunity to meet them a few times, and then I actually got snowed in up in Spokane in January. So I got to spend a little extra time with their family when I went to visit them. But they're an awesome family. So I adore her. So I'm excited to hear her speak on the call tonight. All right, girl, it's your turn.
All right. Can you hear me? I unmute myself. Okay. I'll try and keep an eye on that and keep people muted as they enter if they come in late. Um, I'm using these, so hopefully just wave at me or something if you can't hear, because it helps me block out the children, that I like to ignore on a daily basis. So having the earphones in makes it so I don't get as distracted. So Tanya is right. I had a very close call last month and with Success Club, and the reason it is so important to me is more than just the leads. It's because it shows the consistency and because of the amount of people that I help. And because I think the consistency is the biggest thing for success in this business. It's the not giving up and the showing up every day. And I've been through a lot in the last 3 years. Really, really a lot in many areas, my marriage, with my kids, with struggles with depression. I started Beachbody right after having my son and dealt with a lot of issues from losing a baby between my first and second child. And I still struggle with that now. I got a new job the week I signed up to be a coach and started them both at the same time. We dealt with some pretty serious issues with my marriage. And just a year ago, actually, I met with a divorce attorney. And I really didn't expect to be sitting here in this house now, married. In all those things and in all those times, I still showed up and I did my work. And I made sure and hit Success Club 10 every month is a non-negotiable, usually more than, and also sometimes 10 or 5 in my husband's business as well. I think for a year consistently, I hit 5 in his business before my business kind of shifted a little. And that's why it was such a big deal. So poor Tanya had to deal with my hysterics. So that's why I started laughing when she said, hey, she gets it every month. And I want you to know also that because of that, I had 12 on the 1st of this month. So I'm not messing around. I was like, I'm not even trying to do that again. So 12 under me and 2 under Daryl. And just let's just handle that right away so I don't have to worry. So everything else now is gravy. And I think that just a quick tip there that has nothing to do with this call is I want you to maybe this week try and think about that momentum and that excitement and that energy that you guys have those last 3 days when you're all posting these threads in 360 and you're like, oh my God, we're going to get it. Are you inviting? Did you send 5? Don't give up. Oh my God, it's almost there. Like, do that this week. Why? Like pretend like it's the 29th today, because it's not fun if it doesn't work out. It's only exciting if it works. And then if it doesn't, it's like a total panic attack. And I don't like it. I went through it last month and I'm not a fan. I've done it twice before that, December, both for the last 2 years. I hit from Success Club 0 to 10 on the 31st of December, the last 2 years in a row. Both times I swore I wouldn't do it again. Both times I spent all of New Year's Eve like blah, 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 on my phone. So just pretend like it's that now. My non-negotiable date is the 15th of the month. So that's my 31st. And then, everything after that is like gravy. Okay, so if you've got your little PDF printable, you can use it. If you don't need it, fine. But I thought it might help you and me. So I'm going to try and stay on track. It's already 7:15, so let's see if we can dial this down into like 15 minutes, and then I can do questions if you have them. So the first thing I want to do, and this is kind of interactive, if you don't have the notes, just grab a pen and a paper, but I do want to encourage you to kind of do these exercises with me. They're not going to be super long. I'll give you like 1 minute for each one. But the first thing I want you to do is I want you to look at that top right box on your notes that says my 5 passions. And then in parentheses, I put things that make me me. And I want you to try and just verbal diarrhea and jot a few things down. I really think that this is something I heard when I first started coaching, and I actually remember it from Brad Bizjack on a team call. And that was his advice. He said, you have to post 3 to 5 times a day. And I had really no Facebook, at all going. And every time my timeline pops up, the only thing that comes up from 3 or 4 years ago is like me speaking in the third person and saying like, it says Amanda, and I would write like, is having a bad day. Or it like would say Amanda is like wants to go to bed or wonders why people are so rude. And it was like, that's all I ever wrote. So don't think you have to have a rocking social media, because I'm telling you, that's the kind of stuff I used to post, and it would be once in a while. And it comes up now that they have that on this day thing. So when I heard post 3 to 5 times a day, I was like what, am I going to write how crappy my day is 5 times in a row? So there's been a big mindset shift for me with coaching. So when you brainstorm out these 5 passions, I can give you some examples. So for me, my marriage and healing that and nurturing that is one of my passions. That is not something that was on my list when I first started. So these can be fluctuating. Like when I first started, I didn't even realize that there was any issues there. Or maybe there wasn't at the time because we weren't looking close enough. My kids are a huge passion of mine. Being a mother is a huge passion of mine. So not just recognizing them as kids, but the idea of me being the mother I want to be, that's one of my passions. Cooking is one of my passions. I love redoing recipes and making clean versions of things that I've loved, and trying to find ways to get my husband to eat things he didn't used to eat, and things like that. So always there'll be cooking and food related posts, obviously my workouts, but you don't want it to be me, my kids, and my workouts. That's not deep enough. So kind of jot down a few other things you love. Is it your relationship with God and your church and some sort of ministry? Is it one of mine is being outdoors? So you'll see a lot of things. I was like, if I had more time, I'd be hiking more. But since I'm kind of relegated to this 10 minute radius of my house most of the time, it's like playing in the backyard with my kids or working in the garden or doing sidewalk chalk, and but being outside when I can be, doing my business on the patio every day that I can possibly do it, that it's not raining, I'm outside. So anyway, jot those things down, and then when you're doing your posts, you can keep those things in mind, that what it is that makes you you and what areas you want to focus on. So this social media tips is going to be more like demonstrated towards Facebook, because that's where the dominance of my business is, but this really does translate to any of the social media platforms. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you real quick, because I want to just show you a couple things. So a good way to check how you're doing when you go to your page is go to your timeline as if someone was going to look and see if they want to accept your friend request, if it wants to do it. Hopefully you guys can see it. You can see it? Yeah. Okay, good. So if you go to your timeline, you can kind of scroll down and be like, oh, what's this girl about? And you're like, okay, there's her kids. Oh, my son being crazy out the window. That is actually supposed to be in my story. Delete. See, everything's fixable. I don't know why it went on my page too, but oh well. Anyway, going down, there's us. This is like a watermelon tip. So you can see, obviously I have kids. There I am with my ice cream this morning. I happen to think that's a great picture of me for some reason. A little clean eating group post. So you see that I'm into cooking, and there's my poor son. So you kind of see, okay, she's a mom. Oh, look, there's more cooking stuff, and her husband, her kids, there's another thing to eat. So it kind of gives you an idea. So if you scroll down someone's page and you go to their last 4 or 5 posts, you should get a pretty good idea of who they are. And then another thing you can do is you can go to photos. And this is kind of like an Instagram thing too. You're going to look and you're going to see the last few posts. So if you want to go to my page at some point and see examples, you can click on my photos. And a good way to see is if you hover over the photo, you can see how many likes each one of these has. And that'll show you like different traction that some things got that other things didn't. And sometimes it's because of the time you posted them. And sometimes it's because of the content. And sometimes, it doesn't matter how many people see it, but the more people who see it and like it and comment on it, the more other people will see it. So that does matter to some degree. So Hair's like just me with my kids is 51, and my last day at work is 120. And then there's a cooking one, and look, no one said anything. And there's me outside with my son. This one got 100, and it's just a workout picture. There's my post from Tanya. My last day at work, 165. Wow, I didn't even know that. Haven't been on to look at just me and my daughter. So you can see kind of some of these top highlighted posts here and how many things they get, and you can get some ideas of things that you could post that you want to do if you're looking for ideas. Don't copy me though. Just like for ideas, right? So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is I want you to look at my name. My name is my name. And my name is Trudeau is my maiden name. And that's so if I friend request someone, one of the 1,000 people I went to high school with, that they know who I am. They might not know who Amanda Noddings is, but they might remember who Amanda Trudeau is. So I keep that there. If you see it in parentheses, you can actually go in and edit it to have the maiden name in there in parentheses. That wasn't an option when I started. But your cover photo can be whatever you want, but it should be something that's you. I made that one after the trip we were just on with Beachbody, but I want you to look at my profile picture. It's just my face, and it's me smiling, holding some flowers. You can look at it and you can see me. It looks like me. I'm looking at the camera. It's not like a picture of my kids. It's not a picture of a funny like dog or cat or a meme. It's me, because this is a business and it's your storefront. And if you were going to go look up a business and see where you were going to go, you need to know what it looks like. You need to know what it has to offer. And I want you to see that you're offering a friendly, smiling person who you might be willing to talk to. And that's what I look like. Right? See, we look similar. And not like some glamour shots by Deb that doesn't look anything like you and what you're ever going to look like. Just make it you. And I don't think it needs to have any inspirational quotes or photos on it. I think if you go through, like I usually change it whenever I have one that I like or that has a message I like. I'm really into this whole theme here. So that's a little more political than I usually am, but I love that shirt. So I had to do that. This was on our Success Club trip on the cruise. Like puffy eyes. Here's one of my favorites in my shirt with my sweaty, messy hair. But see, they all look like me, and they're all just my face. There I'm in a bathrobe. Who am I? Like Hugh Hefner. But anyway, it should be you, and it should be your face, right? So make sure that your name is your name and not like Amanda It Works Raps Girl Noddings, and make sure that your face is your face so that people know who they're getting into, because that's your storefront. So now you know that you're going to be posting every day. You're going to have your picture there, and you're going to be sharing the things that make you the most passionate. So when we get into those visuals we were talking about, I want to I have to move this down so I can see around the control panel. I know you guys can't see that, but it blocks my view. I don't know how to get in, so make sure you're muted if you just joined, please. Okay, so I want to show a couple of these posts because we're going to go into visuals. So when you're making a visual for your post, there's a couple things that's really important for you to keep in mind. And the one thing is that it should be relevant to what you're talking about. So in some way tie in, like you don't want to put, like, it wouldn't make any sense if I was talking about taking my kids to the park and then I have this picture just because I think it's a cute picture of me. So if you want to use that picture, you better come up with a post that goes with it. It's important that, so not only that it's relevant, but that it is clear and visually eye-catching. So there's nothing exceptionally eye-catching about this except I'm holding ice cream, which people might think is odd for me. So they might catch their eye. The expression on my face is kind of funny. I have a filter on it, so it kind of focuses the light and the center. So it's kind of, as you're scrolling through, it's going to look a little different than other people's, because you got to remember that people have short memory spans and they're going to be scroll, and they see this and they're like, what is she doing with the ice cream? And then they read it and they might laugh because it talks about how I woke up with the spoon stuck to my face, which I did, which is why I laughed when you said I had a six-pack, because I was like, not today. So anyway, clear and eye-catching. And then it's really important that you're you, right? they need to represent you, not somebody else. And so this little story on this post is me. It talks about, I don't know if I have a way to show um, what the post actually said. I don't know why it doesn't show it. But anyway, so it talks about how I fell off the wagon last night and landed in a pint of ice cream. And that's just me being real on my journey and just telling people that it doesn't matter that I'm 4 weeks out. I'm not necessarily perfect all the time. And I think that that's important, but also that I'm not going to like go swim in a pool of it for the rest of the week, right? I'm going to brush myself, move on, and I'm going to actually enjoy the fact that I did it. But I'm just being human and sharing a little bit. So that's important. It's important that it's really you and it's your story, not somebody else's, and not just perfection all the time, because that really doesn't speak to anybody. No, perfection like appeals to nobody. We watch shows like the Kardashians because they're all a hot mess and we all want to see what they're doing and whatever. Well, maybe we don't watch them anymore, but that's like the most relevant. I don't watch TV, so I don't know. But like, those are the shows, reality shows that people watch. That's why, because they want to see people's whole story and everything. They don't just want to see the surface veneer. So that's why people buy gossip magazines. They want to know the behind the scenes dirt. They want to see what the real story is, because nobody just buys the shiny cover photo. And you do yourself a great disservice if you only present that to people. The other thing I think that is important when it comes to your visuals is that you don't waste a lot of time on them. This picture, I posted it to Instagram first. I put the filter on, I posted it. Then I went over to Facebook and posted it on here. I copy and pasted the same description. And then I went to my business page and I did the same thing. 3 posts, boom, 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 took me 10 seconds. The picture clearly took 10 seconds to take. I think I have like 3 different expressions on my phone. I went, ching, ching, ching. Okay, turn like this. Where's the light? Where's the light? Boom, picture done. And that was it. And then I threw the ice cream in the garbage can, posted it, and moved on with my morning. Don't waste a ton of time on the pictures. Maybe every once in a while, you, with a call to action post or something, you do a little more. But for the most part, I just try and keep it really legitimately a simple picture without a ton of graphics and a ton of crazy editing on the pictures. The only time I really put text on the pictures is if I'm doing like a motivational quote, then I'll add it to one of my pictures. But other than that, it should just be like you. No one wants to, if you're too polished, I think it just looks fake. So I want to talk about, and then as far as the posts go, make sure you edit a little bit. And so for that, I mean 2 different things. One is editing your text and your spelling and stuff, so it's not all sloppy. And like sometimes I read what people wrote and I swear to God it's a different language, and I'm like, what? Like there's no punctuation. It's like 75 words all shoved together, and I don't know. The other thing to look at is editing your story to break it down into like smaller pieces. So we'll get into that a little bit more when we get into the jab, 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 right hook. But I just want you to always think in the mind of editing, especially someone like me who's really wordy and likes to write big stories. You always need to edit. So some of my favorite apps, and really there's no excuses. I have people sometimes send me messages asking me what apps you use to edit your photos. And I really just want to tell you in the nicest, mean way possible, go to your app store and Google apps for iPhone or apps for photo editing or apps for Android. Go to Google and Google apps for photo editing, and it will be like top 10 apps for iPhone. And that's where I found mine. I didn't have anyone to tell me. And then I download the free version and I fart around with them for a couple of days. And when I find one that I like, that's streamlined, I use that one. But some of my favorites are Pick Play Post. That's the one you can see with different frames where they have videos, and you can do sequential, so you can make it go 1, 2, 3, 4 and do a couple little pieces in a row. You can overlay music. If it's 15 seconds or less, you won't be a copyright infringement. You can do a still shot on one side and a moving video on the other, which is kind of nice. So I love Pick Play Post. Pick Collage, very simple for photo collages or adding a bunch. Word Swag, obviously, I think I was like one of the first people to have that one. And then like someone mentioned it on a national wake up call. And for like 2 years now, that's all I see. But if you're going to use it, fiddle around with it. Don't use the same font that you see everyone else use. Make it your own. I kind of brand my photos with that app and use like the same fonts and kind of just make it my look. I do a thin bar with a background color and have that on the picture like this. And I change the color, but I use that a lot. And I drop my email on the bottom in a thin print that I like, that I think is clear. And that's just kind of one of the things I made my own. Here's another picture with this app is called Layout. It goes hand in hand with Instagram. So you go in Layout, and that's the one where you can do one shot of yourself and mirror image it. So you pop your pictures in, boom, you can flip it, reverse it. You put your thing down, flip it and reverse it. So a little Missy Elliott for you. So you can do that. That's a really, it's your feminipaflim yet? So and that's a really easy one to use. And then it's already measured for Instagram. So I like that one. Let's see. And then Over, that's a good one. And a lot of people on the team love Canva. I have the app. I'm not a fan, but my brain works differently than some people's. And half the team or 90% of the team seems to love that. So you might want to try Canva. I like PicMonkey, and PicMonkey now is better than it used to be because now there's a hub. I don't know if you know this, if you haven't checked it out in a while, there's a hub. You can save your work and go and edit layer by layer. Now it doesn't just disappear when you're done with it. So I made calendars for all my challenge groups, saved them, and the hub went in, changed the name on the top of the challenge group, and repurposed it for my coaches, for my challenge groups, and whatever. And I only had to make it once, and I made 4 different versions of it for my challenge groups and my coaches. So they're beautiful, really easy, and they're saved on the hub. So I strongly recommend PicMonkey if you think your brain might work like mine. Okay, and I don't have to pay for layouts and samples. I did a year upgrade of it. It was like $20, and I use it unlimited for the whole year. I love it. Okay, moving on. So now it's time for another little brainstorming session. I want you to think about 5 traits that your ideal coach has. So if you were to have someone on your team, and this is something I'm constantly having to remind myself of, what are qualities that they would have that you think are necessary for them to be like a great addition to your team? If you're going to be like, it's Monday, it's my day off, I'm checking in with all my coaches, and you have that excitement in your stomach because you can't wait to check in with blank, that person. Why? Why is that so exciting? So try and jot down 3 to 5 traits that person has, and something hopefully deeper than they're really nice or they like to work out. Like it needs to be something more than that that makes you connect with them. Some of mine are that they are intelligent. It sounds snobby, but I'm not a big fan of stupid people. And I'll just be honest. Tanya knows, I've said it to her 100 times. I don't have a lot of patience for stupid. I'm sorry. And I've made the mistake of trying to alter my, to not speak to my voice of who I want on my team before. And I came up with coaches that I couldn't coach because I couldn't relate to them and I couldn't communicate with them. So as stupid as that may sound, it is important. It doesn't mean they have to be a genius. It just means that they have to be willing to try and be coachable and learn and willing to learn, I'm kind of a word person, so I like it when they understand words. Call me the snob. And all of my coaches on my team, you're all very smart. If you're worried, don't worry. None of you are bad. To me, family is really important to me. And to me, integrity is huge. I need somebody who doesn't sleep well at night if they did something bad to someone else. If they hurt somebody's feelings, it's going to bother them, even if it was unintentional. That's important to me. I need somebody who cares about other people in their heart so much that maybe it might make them lose a little sleep if they were, mean to them. Just because that means that their heart is in the right place, or the same, maybe not the right place, but the right place for me and my team. Because they're more concerned with the person than the paycheck. Okay, so moving on, we're going to go into those posts. So I have a couple little things to keep in mind when you post. We already talked about editing and spelling and grammar, but the bigger part of that I kind of wanted to mention was, so I wrote something about how cool it was to go on our trip for Beachbody. And I wanted it to be a coaching post. And I started off by talking about, we're going to have this trip. My family has never been able to travel before. This is huge. And then I started talking about how cool it was that I got to take, or some of my coaches were going. Then I talked about how much awesome it was to spend time with like-minded people. And then I talked about this, and it was an awesome post. And it was like 4 or 5 paragraphs. And I was just like, I like the way I write, and I liked the whole story. And then I had to go edit, Amanda, because that is a lot. And I realized that post, 4 paragraphs, was 4 different posts. I really could do one just about spending the time with the people, one about how I hadn't traveled before, one about taking a coach on my team on a trip. So that's what I mean by editing. Make sure that you're not trying to tell too much. It's like when you talk to someone about a challenge pack, you don't need to tell them every single thing Beachbody has to offer ever that they might ever want to do. If they ask you a workout suggestion, you don't have to name every program we have. Well, this is the same thing. If you do a post, pare it down. Think about breaking it down into sections. If there's a story you want to tell about what you did today, was it that you really got 10 things done? Or was it that you went to the grocery store without your kids? Or was it that you shopped and you were able to buy a whole week's worth of groceries for $100? Or was it that you everything in your cart looked better than it did the year before? There's like so many aspects to that one shopping trip, right? So if you, let's see, manage participants. I'm going to mute all. Okay. Sorry. Can you still hear me though? Did I mute myself? So anyway, really edit and break those down, because sometimes if you think that you don't have anything to post about, you feel like you just posted about that, it's because you just posted about all of that. And really you could have just posted about like one aspect of it. Just give little snippets into your life. Like, it doesn't have to be everything all the time in one post. So this one is just about doing the leg day and how I like feeling those muscles work, and just to update on my progress. It doesn't talk about like how many weights I used or what I measure or how far I am towards my goals. It's just about that one feeling. And then, I can post more about the rest of it later. Okay, I know the clock is ticking, but we didn't start till 7:15, so I'm doing good. So when I'm talking about timing, I'm talking about you probably don't want to post at 3 a.m. I saw this like 3 times just in the last week. Think of your person that you're posting to that has those 5 traits we just brainstormed about, and when are they online? For me, I do post to people who are busy, or sometimes, especially with Instagram, I'm posting to night shift people. So there might be people up like me. So when I post something at 4 a.m, I'm going to get some early riser East Coast people, and I'm going to get some night shifters like me who are still up. But if you're trying to get moms and you post at 11 p.m. and they might already be in bed. So I've seen a couple times this week, actually, just this last week, even with some of my own coaches, really good posts that I was really proud of them for branching out, but they only got like 2 or 3 responses. And part of that is the fact that it was 11 at night or 11:30 when they posted it. And maybe it took them all day to gear up the courage for that, but just make sure the timing that you post it is relevant. If you do it on a Friday night when people are going out on dates, they're probably not going to be thinking about, you know what, let's go to the movies and go out to dinner, grab a drink, and I really want to get in shape. Like, it doesn't really go together with what you're doing on Friday night, or if you're having a family night or whatever on Friday night. So Monday morning when they're scrolling, or they maybe Sunday night after they had a long weekend and maybe overindulged, those are better. They're kind of got the kids back settled in for the school week. Then they're more likely to be online. Then that might be a better time. So just keep that relevant, your timing. And then for voice, that's just what I talked about before, but a little more detail is, does it actually sound like you? You can't come over here and copy this exact thing and post it on your wall if you don't say things like crushed it, because that would sound stupid coming out of your mouth, right? It needs to sound like you. And just certain things aren't going to sound like you if it's the wrong thing. So even if you want to do an update post like this with this same message, make sure you write it in your own voice so it sounds like you. So now I want to get into, so don't plagiarize, right? You can get inspiration from people, but don't plagiarize, be honest. So now I want to get into the jab, 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 right hook. If you haven't read that book, I highly recommend you put it on your to-do list. It's by Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. It's an excellent book. I actually got it from Jesse a couple years ago, and I loved it. And nobody was really watching him then, but I don't get offended by swear words, so I loved him. But he wasn't even maybe as big then, or at least I didn't know of him. He ended up speaking at our summit last year. I thought that was really cool. And even some of my coaches who don't have potty mouths like me still like his stuff. So you should check it out. And in the book, he doesn't swear all the time, just in his live stuff. So the whole concept of jab, 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 right hook is based on like a boxing metaphor. So if you want to get your opponent knocked out, you're not going to charge at him full speed and then just run up and throw a punch. Picture like a cartoon, right? You have somebody running at you full force with their arm drawn back. And at the last second, the person just steps to the side and the person falls to the ground. They miss them completely. And it's like, a big waste of, they hit nothing but air. A real boxer is going to go jab, 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 right hook. So they're going to get you right on the chin, knock you, whoa, whoa. And as soon as you kind of, whoa, what happened? Boom. Then they go in and knock you out. That is what the jab, 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 right hook is about. So what that means is you might hear people say breadcrumbing. To me, it's about adding the value. So whenever you're doing a jab, you kind of got to keep in mind, and to me, every post I have that isn't a right hook is a jab. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. So remember, this is your business. It's not your place to vent. This isn't your place to go bitch about your day. Not if you're running a business. I'm sorry. Maybe it used to be. It's not anymore. You're going to have to go start a Snapchat under an assumed name or something if you want to do that. But this is your business. It's your storefront. And so this is where you're putting out your content, and your jabs are, that equals value. So the three most important things are that they provide value, that they provide value, and that they provide value. Jab, 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 value, value, value. If you just replace that word, your post will be right on target. So some examples of that could be like a tip about drinking your water, and you put the little water bottle with the rubber bands on top and you move one down every time you drink it. And that way you keep track of how many times you filled your water bottle. I use that in my challenge group. Say, hey, you need 100 ounces. You got a 20-ounce water bottle, put 5 hair rubber bands on the top. Every time you drink it, move it down to the bottom. That's a tip. Today I did one on turning the watermelon over so the juice goes to the other side, because otherwise they get all flavorful on one side because they've sat in the bin in the grocery store that way for a day, and the other side is gross. So you turn it over for 2 hours before you cut it. It's just a little jab. It's just a little bit. But the purpose of that is for people to build trust in you. They're going to start seeing you as someone that provides value in their life and gives them content and tips, things that are useful. And you're not selfish. You're thinking about like, hey, I always can get something good at Amanda's page. Hey, I've tried her recipe before and it was good. I'm going to try this next one. Or like, she's not just all Beachbody ads. She's not a Beachbody robot. I think she does that Beachbody thing, but she always has good recipes. What's your jab? So tips, something that's funny. If it's something that makes people laugh, that is a jab. That adds value to someone's day and life. If they start laughing, to me, that's a win. So if I do something stupid and I laugh at it, and I'm going to share it with people, because A, it makes me human, and B, I mean, if you can't laugh at yourself, then life's too short. I spend a lot of time laughing at myself because I do a lot of stupid things, and usually I share them with the world, because why not? So make sure you're adding that value, and that, and those tips, that thing I said before about don't plagiarize, that doesn't mean they have to be original things. And you're sitting here racking your brain like, well, I don't know about watermelon. How'd you come up with that? I didn't come up with that. Somebody told it to me like 2 years ago, and now I do it. And I even posted that in the comments. Oh, someone told me this a couple years ago. I didn't act like I invented it. I did one on how to cut an avocado right a couple of years ago, because I didn't know, and I had to Google it. And I was like, I can't believe I never knew this. do you guys know how to cut an avocado? Here you go. And then I made a little video out of it. It was cool. People liked it. People still comment on it on YouTube, and it's like a 30-second how to cut an avocado video. So those are your little jabs. Your right hooks are going to be challenge group invites, sneak peek to coaching invites, call to action posts. And the purpose of that is to take advantage of the traction from the jabs. So when I was showing you my page earlier, and there's this picture that has 100 likes, and this picture that has 100 likes, and this picture has 100 likes, the point of that is not to get 100 likes on those pictures. It's to get those 300 people who saw that to see the one I post tonight at 5 o'clock. That's the point. Jab, 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 and then right when everyone's paying attention, and then boom, hey, here's a picture of some asparagus. I'm doing a clean eating group with my team. If you want in, drop your email. I have a 55-person clean eating group open right now, all that I signed up yesterday. Yesterday, in 4 hours, 55 responses, because I had so many posts that had good traction in a row, that I felt like I had to post something to invite them to give them the right hook, so I didn't waste the traction. So I wasn't even planning on inviting people to the clean eating group. I was going to do it with my group, but I was like, crap, dude, all these things got a bunch of traction. And honestly, my anniversary, things like that, there was a lot of comments on a lot of posts. I better take advantage of that and put something out there that will further my business. So make sure you use the right hook. If you don't post a call to action or take advantage of those, that's wasting all the work you did on all that content. So don't waste what you're doing. Like, I didn't feel like doing that. I even put on it, hey, I have a date with my husband tonight. I'm not going to answer you, but if you want to put your email, I promise I'll add you to the group. And I got messages, private messages with emails and comments on it. And that was just because it had a lot of visibility because of the jabs I did before that. Because I've been posting a couple food pictures this week, because I've been updating people about my fitness progress all along, and because they've been seeing those posts. So that's the purpose of the jab, 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 right hook. So let's see, examples of a right hook. I told you that. Let's see, at the bottom, there's a little thing there that says, it doesn't matter how good the story is. And that means your story that you're telling. It doesn't matter how good it is. It doesn't matter how good the paragraphs you write are. It doesn't matter how great that post is. It doesn't matter. Any of it doesn't matter if nobody sees it and if nobody reads it, right? So if you have a crap picture or no picture and you write an awesome post, people are going to scroll right by those words. So you need a good image. It doesn't have to be fabulous, but it should be an image. It doesn't matter when you see a post on Facebook, it shows you the first 3 lines. If that paragraph is the most heartfelt, amazing thing you ever wrote that will rock my world, and by the end of it, I'm crying, and yes, I do those posts a lot. I'm wordy. I do write long posts, but people aren't going to read them unless the first couple sentences grab you and make you want to read. So make sure that first line or two that they're going to see says something interesting to pull people in, not just like, so today I went to the grocery store and ... I don't care about you at the grocery store. Scroll. And I'm never going to get to see the rest of that amazing post. Nobody read it. I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings. They love you. They don't care about the grocery store. But if it said, I can't believe how much money I saved at the store today, and then ... I might go, well, wait, how'd she save so much money? Or where'd she save money at? Is there a big sale somewhere? Just something that actually grabs someone's attention. Today, I had a really meaningful experience with my son, ... Okay, well, I might want to read about that. So I might stop. So make sure those first couple lines and then the image are there, because if no one sees it or no one reads it, it doesn't matter how well written it is. And the same thing goes for posting it like 3 a.m. Like, right, best post of your life. By 6 a.m., that shit's buried. Nobody saw it. And you're like sitting there going, nobody loves me. Nobody reads my stuff. Nobody cares. No, they care. They just didn't see it. So make sure that you've built up with the jabs first. Make sure you have the images, and make sure you have the words that match. It sounds like you. It's authentic. And if it's not a call to action post, you're not asking for something out of them, if you're not inviting them to something, then it should be offering some sort of value. That's it, I think. I think I got everything. All right. I guess that's it. So hopefully, I know that is kind of long, 35 minutes I talked, but it's getting late. So, um, anybody have any questions? Anyone want to take back over? Tanya, do you have anything to say? I'll unmute you, Tanya. It doesn't want to unmute you. There you go.
It doesn't want me to talk. That was really good. Do you guys have any questions? Did you all fill out your sheet?
Let me open the chat just in case there's any there. Oh, there it is. Like do. Pretend it's the end of the month. You put the same post on all the platforms. I do not everything, but some things. Anything fitness or food related, Brandy, I put on my Instagram, also goes to my business page. Sometimes I share too. I didn't used to. I always posted it separate, but now Instagram and Facebook have the same owner. It's not as big of a deal as people think now. It used to be that if you would share from Instagram to Facebook, it would block your traction because they don't like taking away from their platforms. Now that they're married, honestly, I know that you might hear differently, but in my opinion, sometimes that actually helps my traction because Instagram and Facebook are linked. And if 50 people look at it at Instagram and are liking it, then they show it more on Facebook. That's my take as someone who studies the numbers. So yeah, I share too. If I have time or if I want to experiment with it, I'll post it separately and see. But I posted them separately today, and I went to my fitness page and it said Amanda Nollies Driven Fitness posted 3 photos to Instagram and showed them. And it was on my fitness page. I didn't do that. They did that. So they know that they're married and related. So I just share it to both. As far as my personal page, which is where I drive most of my business from, that is where I share more of my personality and my kids. That Instagram training that was recently posted in Team 360 is great. And that is very relevant, what she said about if someone follows you for fitness and you have a bunch of pictures of your kids for no reason, they will unfollow you on Instagram like that. That's very true. So I don't put all my Facebook posts from my personal page on Instagram. But my like page and whatever, I didn't have an Instagram and I didn't have a like page. I created them at the same time and I started putting stuff on both. I have 2,000 followers on my like page or something like that. That's mostly organically grown. I think I've done like 2 or 3 ads ever. Well over a year ago, and I quickly decided that was a waste of my time. So yeah, what else? Overworking. Yeah, I use a lot of emojis. Yeah, like Tony said, she likes emojis, and it doesn't look weird when she does it. I do a lot of the laughing face with tears. That's very me because I'm always like laughing at myself for something I did, and a smile just doesn't seem to cut it. I like the little guy because I'm just like, or the monkey. I use a lot of the monkey, but that's because I'm usually like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But that's me. But I don't do like an emoji every 3rd word. That's not me. So like I went and looked at the girl who did the Instagram training. She had a post over there. I went and looked at her page and looked at a couple of her posts, and she had like a donut symbol and a apple and a this and a that, an emoji, like literally every 3rd word. And she has tons of traction. If I posted that, she's also younger than me. If I posted that, that might be a bit much for my age group. And I don't see a lot of that in my feed from other people. So that tells me that my market, that's really not relevant too. I don't need to force myself to do it. It might be a little bit much. I do it sometimes when I want to emphasize a point or in a group invite post. But other than that, focus, edit, turn it into multiple posts. Yes. Yeah, that's big to me. And I have to force myself to do it because I want it to be a big post, but it's not. It really can be broke down. And it's kind of like if you're writing an essay for school, if you ever took a writing class, and they'd be like, you need to organize your paragraphs. And they're like, what's your topic of this paragraph? And this one and this one. And your teacher will be like, dude, that's like 5 thesis statements in one. Break it down and that's like 4 different papers. That's a whole nother talk show, so just break it down and edit down. I don't see any other questions. Are you using Facebook stories? If so, what are you posting there? Facebook. Can you see stories? Can you see my phone? Here's my back from my workout yesterday. There's one workout left, the Body Beast. There's this morning, I added that same photo to my story. Sometimes I do that, and I made a video like, oh, well. There's my kid. He's cute. Screaming out the window. There we are getting ready to go to the store. Going down the slide. Just says he's so big. So big. We're waiting to pick up Olivia from school. What else? Shanti. Jenny Bishop Hobbs, thanks for the music. Shout out. Let's see. Having some good times, doing some Shanti. Got my jams. And that was about 10 minutes before this call started. So that's all I have. Love that move. So good for your thighs. Anyway, that's what I have on it. And I can tell you what I'm doing on Instagram stories. It's those exact same things. I think the stories, Carly and them have given you great tips on those. They really all probably know more than I do about all of that. It's new to me, just like it is to you. But I find that that's a better place for the things that aren't necessarily valuable enough to be their own post on my page. Like, oh, my kid looks so cute right now, but I don't have a post about it. It doesn't add any content to my page. I don't want to force it in someone's news feed. So I'll put it in my story. That's a quick, and that way they get like kind of a more total picture of your day and what you're doing and everything, but maybe not like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. Every time I go to her page, it's something so awesome. Yeah, put it in the story. If you think it's funny, put it in the story. If you're just sharing what you're doing, spending time with your kids, put it in your story. It's only there 24 hours. What's it gonna, it's like self-destructs. Who cares? Anything else? Did you know you can save it from Instagram to Facebook, your stories, and repost? Did you know there's a story for your Messenger and Facebook that are different? Just just a little tip there. If you go into your Messenger app, you can see at the top there, let me see, it says My Day. That's separate from what you post on your Facebook. So I save it down from Instagram. I do it on Instagram first because the text on Instagram is better and it has like the boomerang option and the different camera options. So I always start with Instagram, then I download it, save it, post, and then I come over to Messenger and I post it on here. There's my back. There's a this. See? Same. Oh, there's a video of my abs with my ice cream tummy. Missed that one. There's that. Same workout moves, but it's on there. When you come into your Messenger, you have all these colorful people at the top here, and it's kind of eye-catching, and I can scroll through. There's not that many people on there that have it, but people message me a lot, or they think about messaging me a lot, or they half start a message, and then they finish it 6 months later because they didn't have the guts to message me. I get those messages a lot. And so if they're cruising through their Messenger to send a message to their friend, anyone on their friends list who has a story pops up here. And if not very many people are doing these stories in Messenger right now, you're damn right I want my face to be one of them. And every time you put a new one up, yours becomes the most recent. And if they click on my message and they're like, oh, I like the way your back looked in that, they can message me and it goes directly into my Messenger. And now we have an inbox conversation going on the messages. So I post it to all three. Anything else? We're posting 3 to 5 times a day or less now. On the stories, just whatever. I mean, 2 days ago, I didn't post anything because I was hanging out with my family, and that is more time consuming. My husband was home. I was off work. I didn't do any stories. I just let it go for a day. I don't feel like, it's not like my regular Facebook where I need those core posts. The stories to me is kind of extra, and I like to do them. But it also requires me, like I said, download, save, repost, download, save, repost. And I was having family days, so I just didn't stress about the story that day, you know, because family first, that's my priority. But on my personal page, oh yeah, 3 to 5 times a day, easy. I don't even count. I assume so. I usually do something when I first wake up, and let's see, I did something 3 hours ago, 6 hours ago, 10 hours ago. So yeah, I have 3 so far, and I'll do one more tonight, so that'll be 4 for the day. Looks like yesterday I did 5, 1, 11 a.m., and 7 a.m. So 4 the day before, 8 p.m., 5 p.m., 1 p.m., and noon, and 8 a.m. So I did 5 the day before that. Yeah, I space them out. I I most always do my call to action posts in the evening. Once in a while, I do it in the morning if I have a ton of traction built up and I'm off that day and I want to get to the messaging of people who respond and like, hi, I see you back there. Then Tanya, you got a peeper. Anyway, so I'll do it in the morning only if it's like my day off and I want to like spend the day messaging those people back. But other than that, I usually do it in the early afternoon, like 4-ish. That gives me a couple hours to respond because I like to do my post when I have time to respond to them and strike while the iron's hot. That's something I enjoy. I don't like to do a post that's a call to action, a right hook post, and then not be there to respond to them. It gives me total anxiety. And instead of engaging in whatever I'm doing, I keep thinking about how I wish I could check and see if anyone's messaged me about the challenge group. So when I do a right hook, I do it when I have some time to respond. If people like it or comment, I want to like and comment too, because every time you do that, it builds attraction. So if I'm going to do a big call to action post, it's going to be when I have a half hour to sit there and fart around with the phone. Anybody else? All right. No questions. No more questions. All right. I guess that's it. It's 8 o'clock. I took an hour of your night. I appreciate you guys coming. Sorry it took so long. Hopefully it was valuable. I know some of it might have been a repeat, but always a good reminders too, you know. Like for me, the remembering about the traits of my ideal coach, those things are important. Shortening the story, that's something I remind myself of a lot. You know, it doesn't have to be a graphic novel or an epic novel, you know, always. To me it does, but it doesn't have to be.
Thank you so much. I know I tell them, I'm like, don't come until 8 o'clock. And
it's 8:01. She is on it.
Dot.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll get the recording up. And when I post it, if anyone has any more questions, you can put them on there. Don't blow up my messenger, please. Sometimes after team calls, I get lots of messages. All right.
Just post them in Team 360 if you have questions. You guys.
Yeah, then I can respond to them there because really, like I was telling you, I do run my whole business through my messenger, and I kind of like to keep it free for clients. Have a good night, you guys.
Everybody, have a good night.
Bye.